All right, welcome back, everyone. Welcome this morning, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. Welcome to this live demo session on RESTful application programming training with me and Anubhav. I will be your trainer throughout this training session on RESTful application programming training for next 30 hours. In this training, we are going to learn the core concepts of RESTful application programming model, which is the new programming model and a successor programming model of BOPF in S4 HANA and also ABAP on cloud. Remember, this training is not only for people who are willing to start their journey with ABAP on cloud, but also for those who are already started their journey with S4 HANA, because RESTful application programming model is also available in SAP S4 HANA. In today's demo session, I will be taking you through who is this training for, what's the purpose of this training, how can we utilize this training to enrich our skills and use our skills to be able to develop applications which are real applications going to help our company for the future. Yes, this is what we will be doing in our today's demo session. Yes. So let's get started and talk about what is the agenda of our training today. So let me discuss about the agenda for the training. So today we will see who is this training for. We will talk about the motivation for using RESTful application programming model, so-called RAP. We'll discuss about the benefits of the RAP and then followed by a live system demo into our system. Remember, it's a demo session, so you might not be able to understand all parts of this demo, why we doing certain things in certain way, but as and when we go deep dive inside the course, you will understand all the aspects of it. So, who is this training for? So, if you are a ABAP consultant like Imani, who would like to embrace the change in the technology and make your ABAP code run on cloud, or use the new programming model REP with CDS database or CDS based data model, this training is going to help you. If you are Marcos, who's the solution architect, and your company is asking you to extend SAP S4 HANA solution outside the S4 HANA environment with ABAP skill sets and want you to innovate in the world of cloud, this training is also going to help you. If your Aishil, who is a Scrum lead, wants to understand how the BTP can help your customers to increase adoptions and keeping your workforce stay to ABAP, this training is also going to help you. Finally, if you are any SAP consultant or SAP technical enthusiast who would like to build amazing Fiori applications on top of CDS views and exploit the full potential of SAP HANA database, both on cloud and on-premise, this training is also going to help you. These days, the adoption of RESTful application programming model is happening in industry, and your company is asking you for the best practice to build S4 HANA application. So RAP is one of the best practice to build RESTful application programming model based applications in S4 HANA. It's a successor of our approach, so-called BOPF approach or Fiori programming model for S4 HANA. It's a successor of that. You will see that shortly also in our next slide. So let's talk about the motivation for RAP and how ABAP is evolving and how it can help me as an ABAP consultant going forward, also to ramp up my skill set and help my company. So you can see already in your company, you are using ECC with SAP NetWeaver 7.5x, which means any version above 7.5 with any database or HANA database. Basically, you're using Business Suite on HANA. Going forward, our company is migrating or already migrated to SAP S4 HANA. So starting SAP S4 HANA 1909 on-premise, or if you are using SAP S4 HANA Cloud 1908, which is a quarterly release, you can start using the new programming model as ABAP developer. SAP now release a new component in SAP NetWeaver called ABA layer, ABA layer. I will show that in the system. And this layer is what supports the RESTful application programming model. If the ABA layer is present in your company system, you can also use your company system to practice this whole training. You don't need to be on ABAP on cloud because this training is not specifically on ABAP on cloud. It is in general going to help you to learn and code using RAP. Now, you can also observe that we have HANA as the primary database here because for S4HANA solution, the only primary database which is supported is the HANA DB. So here comes the third important paradigm wherein let's say your company don't have any of these, yet you wanted to leverage the best practice and you want to build solutions, then you can use SAP BTP. SAP BTP by far supports different programming languages like Java, Node.js, HANA native development, and it also supports ABAP development on cloud. And this is what we call ABAP on cloud. So the programming model, what you see in terms of building applications on top of HANA, it is also going to help you to build BTP applications as well with your existing ABAP skill set. Exactly. On top of it, we do have the custom applications where we can build custom application or extend our existing solutions like S4HANA on-premise using something called API Hub, which is also part of this training. We will be learning about API Hub and how to use API Hub to consume your existing APIs from your native S4HANA solutions to extend your existing solutions. Now, what are all the benefits of RAP or RESTful application programming model and the cloud? So the first benefit comes is Fiori user experience. It's a Fiori first approach. Whether you want to build a reporting application for analytics or you want to build a transactional application with a responsive web design, this is the certain benefit what you get out of the box by using RAP. Then it's a robust programming model with ABAP. So you don't need to learn a new skill set like Node.js or Java to be able to become a developer into the cloud, into BTP or into the on-premise. This skill set is going to be completely based on ABAP. So those who come from ABAP background or SAP classic background, they can upskill themselves to build also cloud native applications using RAP. Then it's cloud ready extension. So we will be able to develop extensions outside our outside our S4HANA solution. In the past, all the extensions used to be developed within the ECC system, which sometimes break the upgrade. So either your enhancements will break the upgrade or vice versa, your enhancements are broken by the upgrades. So now the idea is to keep our core S4HANA stable and build a solution outside it by extending the solution in BTP. So that's another motivation. It leverages the HANA. Basically, we want to take the full potential of in-memory database and achieve a high code to data paradigm to push down our logic to the database. So this is the next benefit which RAP gives. So it's a package of all of it together rather than focusing on how to do things. We are more focused on what we want to achieve with our domain knowledge, and majority of the code will be generated automatically by the framework. Now coming to the use cases with RAP, what exactly the RAP supports, the programming paradigm, what are the two major use cases when it comes to building RAP? Why should as a developer I learn RAP, Anubhav? How it's going to help me? So point one, it's going to help you to build new applications from scratch where you can create new applications using RESTful application programming model and entity manipulation language. This is a new concept with RAP called EML. We will be learning this. And there are two approaches, so-called managed and unmanaged implementation. The latest EML with RAP for on-premise and cloud. So the RAP also works with on-premise solution, not just for cloud solutions. So some of your company are just using S4HANA on-premise and they say, I don't want to go in cloud right now. But is this going to help me? Yes, absolutely. If your company is using S4HANA on-premise, this training is also going to help you. It's not particularly for cloud. The second major use case is extension. where you can use your existing ABAP knowledge. Sometimes ABAPers are afraid to upskill themselves on other programming languages perhaps, and they wanted to stick to ABAP. So there you can still use ABAP to an API hub with S4 HANA to extend your existing solution with web APIs, and build these web APIs also into the cloud for the integration point of view, integration purpose. Like for example, you wanted to store some data in the cloud and you want to use ABAP programming skill, and plus you want to expose this data to analytics cloud, then it's also going to help you when it comes to S4 HANA solution. So we will be learning one use case where we build web API, and we will use that web API into something called SAP Analytics Cloud. That's also part of your training. Now, coming next, are you ready for the demo? So what we expect today in the demo, I will be creating a simple sales order management application where I will create a custom database table for sales order, where we will also implement a create, edit, and delete of sales order, and we will deploy this application to SAP BTP Cloud Foundry. This is a glimpse of the wrap. So today's demo is more of a glimpse. Of course, it's not the complete training. So if you do not understand some parts of the demo, which is absolutely okay. Absolutely okay. But the idea is, as you know me, that we will be completing one end-to-end flow in the demo to get you more comfortable with what is wrap and how typically it works. Yes. So that's the thought process. Having said that, this is going to be our design for the demonstration today. As you can see, we start from bottom to top approach like any typical ABAP application. We start with a database table where we will create a sales order database table. On top of it, we will create a data model using CDS view on top of this one sales order table. Then this CDS view will work like a business object for us. And for this business object, we will create a behavior definition, which brings the transactional capability like insert, update, delete for our business object. And then on top of this CDS data model behavior definition, we will create a service definition, which expose our entities of CDS in form of a service. And finally, we do a service binding to create a SICF node register to expose this service outside. So in case of classic CDS or classic ABAP on HANA development, we used to use a annotation called OData publish. But with wrap model, we have this concept of service binding, which we use to extend it. Yeah. And finally, we will create a Fiori user experience. So can you please confirm if you guys are able to hear me so that I can proceed with the demo live into the system? Please confirm in the chat if you are able to hear me so we can proceed now with the live demonstration into the system. Perfect, perfect. All right. So now you guys able to hear me. So perfect. Let's get started. We'll switch over back to the system right away. Our development environment, which is Eclipse, ABAP development tool on Eclipse. If you are new to ABAP development tool in Eclipse, perhaps what I will do in the next episode is I'll show you how do you set up your Eclipse tool in your computer. And guys, the good news is this training, you can do it absolutely free on any server. So I will give you free server access for this training so that you'll be able to practice this training without any server cost. Exactly. That's the idea. So I will share with you the steps to actually set up a free server to practice this whole training. So this is our server, and I will be creating a ABAP package in this server using ADT tools. So let's create a new package, and let's call this package as Z Anubhav Trainings Rep Demo, and I'll say Rep Demo Package. I'll just say next. So I'm creating a brand new package into the system. So eventually I will be able to use this package to create all my artifacts for the episode today. So as I told you in the design, we will be creating a brand new database table. So let's right click on the package and create a new database table. There you go. Click on next button, and let's give the table name Z ATS Anubhav Trainings SO 2022. So new sales order table. So I just want to create a new database table for sales order. Click on next, finish, and just create a new sales order database table right out there. Voila, you can see a table is being created. Remember, right now the system which I'm using is a cloud system, and we do not have access of this cloud system via SAP GUI. We cannot. So that's why we need to use Eclipse is the only option and the only tool. I will talk about the server setup, the Eclipse setup in the next class. So you will get comfortable. How did I reach here? How did I reach this screen where I'm able to create these objects? So that's something we are going to learn in the next episode tomorrow, where I will show you how do you set up your instance for ABAP on cloud and connect to that from your local computer, so that you can also practice this whole training step by step. So now you can see this is a database table of type application category. It's a transparent table, not a pooled table, and the data maintenance is right now restricted. So we will create now a primary key for sales order ID. So sales order ID, and I'm going to use it as ABAP integer 4. Then I will use customer, and I will say ABAP.character. It's a 256 character for customer. Then I will use the gross amount. How much is this sales order worth? So it's ABAP.currency type, currency field. So you can do control space, and I will put now here, let's say 10 and 2. And then we will have the currency code, ABAP.cuky currency code. And then we will just also put, let's say, sales organization for this sales order. And I'll say ABAP character. So those who are not from functional background, sales order is nothing but whenever your mom or your wife gives you a small list of products which you got to buy from a grocery store, that's more of a sales order for the grocery store owner. So when you go to grocery store and you give him that slip of what you want to purchase, it's more of a sales order for them, of course, in a rudimentary way. So that's what a sales order is all about. So now coming to this, you can see there's an error. As you all know that in SAP, whenever we create a database table, we usually have to specify the reference field for currency and quantity. So it's actually giving that same error. It says I can't find the currency code for this reference field for this gross amount. So then we use semantic dot amount currency code and control space, and then we'll use currency code as a reference. Fantastic. So this is how exactly we put it, and we will activate our database table. And congratulations, your database table is ready. So as a next step in the design, we can see we are building a sales order CDS view, which is what we will call it as a data model. And this is very simple. We will create a CDS view now. So let's go back to our package, create a new core data and service. Right now, there's no content in my table. That's absolutely okay. And we will create a data definition using CDS. We'll click on next, and let's give a name, ZATS, sales order, CDS. Sales order, CDS for rep. Click on next. So what's the purpose of CDS view here in this case? The purpose of CDS view is it's going to act like a model, act like a business object. Yeah, that's the purpose. So in the rep programming model, basically anything which you do is all around business object. So business object is nothing but a entity of real life. Example, sales order, material, purchase order, quotation, inquiry, accounting document. These are business objects. So business objects are defined using in the RAP programming model using CDS with a keyword called root. So we have a root business object here, which is named as this, and it's going to select the data from my database table. So let me go ahead and choose my table. It's very simple. I don't do any kind of fancy stuff here. I simply inject all the properties from my database table. And that's pretty much it. Yes, let me activate. And in addition to that, I will also provide a label, something meaningful which user can see when they eventually see a Fiori application. So let me give a end user text label annotation. These are called annotation. If you are new to CDS, I will cover basics of CDS in the next class. I will let you comfortable with the basics of what is core data and services in the next episode. So sales order ID. So I'm just giving some labels for my fields because I don't have right now not using any data elements. So that's the reason. Then we have customer, amount, currency, and sales org. Make sense? And the next step is we will create a something called behavior definition. Behavior definition is nothing but it's a special object in a context of rep programming model, which will generate all the create, update, delete code for this business object. Yeah. So let me do that. So I'm going to right click now and create a new behavior definition. So you can see here this option. So in our previous training of ABAP on HANA, we didn't use this because this is something in context of RAP. So let me create a new behavior definition and let's call it as ZATS BDEF sales order. This is a behavior definition, and now you see it's asking me the root entity. So my root entity is this ZATS sales order CDS. Let me just browse it. Yes, 2022. This is my root entity. And now the implementation type I'm using managed. So there are two types of implementation in this in the RAP programming model, managed and unmanaged. We are going to talk about it in unit number 5, 6, 7, 9, and 10. You will understand the difference between both of it and how to use them effectively. So for time being, I'll go managed. Managed means let the framework create all the implementation for me for insert, update, delete. Exactly. That's what managed means. So now you can see it has generated a basic skeleton. We will go deep dive inside this skeleton in unit number 5, 6, 7 so that you can understand it much better. But for time being, I will proceed further. So what essentially it is telling that it is going to generate a create, update, and delete code automatically for our database. Yeah, for our database table. But in addition to that, what you can also see here that it's giving me an error, and the error is because it cannot find a mapping for currency code. If you notice that our database table have field names with underscore, which is also in real life you might see in real life in real SAP applications, you might see this behavior. Your table has columns with underscore, but when it comes to core data and service or CDS views, it has alias name. Yeah, and it doesn't have these underscore in the alias name. So system is confused that how to map these CDS fields, which is nothing but your business object, to the corresponding database table. So that's why we need to specify here an additional mapping so that system can map these CDS fields to eventually to the database table, basically our business object to the database table while inserting the data. So I have to say mapping for, and then I have to put our database table, curly braces, and then we have to specify here the mapping for our fields. So we can do control space, and I can say that currency code is mapped to my database table currency code field, currency underscore code field, and with semicolon. And then we have the sales organization mapped with the sales organization. And finally, we have the gross amount, which maps with a gross underscore amount. So I'm just providing a mapping between my business object and my database table fields so that system can automatically insert this for us. And finally, you can activate this. Activation of this will guarantee that the system will automatically generate, insert, update, and delete code, which earlier we used to write in ABAP by ourselves. It will be auto-generated by the RAP framework. So we are living in the 21st century where we do not have to write everything. We do not have to write every single line of code for ourselves. These Century is very powerful, because nowadays we have very powerful frameworks, and these frameworks takes away the load from developer, and they generate most of the code out of the box for the developer in the system. So that's the behavior definition is all about. We're using the RAF framework intrinsically, and that's what it is doing. And it's also going to generate an implementation in this case automatically. We don't have to write any code ourselves in case of managed scenario. In case of unmanaged scenario, we will be having a chance to do this. Then comes a service definition. So I will take up the questions towards the end of the class. So all the technical questions will be picked up towards the end of the class. Please allow me to complete so that we can take up all the questions at the end. Now, moving next, we will have here the service definition. So let's right click and create a new service definition. So I'm going to right click and create new, and I'll say service definition. And this is the new way for registration of the OData services. So let's create a new service definition, ZATS, service definition for sales order. And I click on next. And I'll next also. And I'll say finish. And now what I will do is I will just expose the API, expose my my entity. So my entity is my CDS name. So let's expose that out. So it's actually ZATS underscore sales order CDS 2022. You can do control space always. And as let's give us a meaningful alias name called sales order set. Yes, this is an alias name. So in this case, right now, I just have one CDS. I took that demo example very simple, but in going forward, we will have complex entities where you have parent-child relationship like sales order header, sales order item, sales order scheduling line item will have multiple levels. So you will understand in detail how this multi-level works. Yeah, that's something we will be doing at later point of time throughout our training in detail when we go lengthy scenarios, big scenarios. But for time being today, we just wanted to keep it simple as possible with a live demonstration. So there's one entity which we created, and finally we will just register this service. So we will right click, we create a service binding. A service binding is going to create a new service node. So ZATS service binding sales order. Let's put that, and we'll put here what's the purpose of my binding. So my purpose is to build a user interface eventually. I'll click on next, and now we just finish. A service binding gets created, which creates a SICF node. SICF node, as you know, that if you want to expose data out of SAP system through the web, you need SICF node. So that's what it creates. But this node is not yet activated. So we need to publish this node to be able to expose the service out. And to finally do that, we are just going to click the publish button, which will activates this node, and you will have an OData service gets created. So in the past trainings of UI5 or ABAP on HANA training, you saw we use something called /n/iwfnd/main service transaction code to do this activity, but this is RAP. In case of RAP, we use a service binding technique, which is going to expose our service for a particular scenario out. Yeah, that's what it does. It's going to take a few seconds, and once the service is registered, I will be able to show you testing this service on my browser, which means I will be able to call and I will be able to read the data for the sales order of our database table through the business object, through the RAP entities in output. So you can see it's created, and I can right click and say, please show me a service preview. So I can also click here, and it will then launch. You can see my my service. So first it authenticates me. So for that, it is going to go to login screen, and if I already logged in on BTP, you can see it has created sales order entity set out of the box. It's an OData service. Now I will just search, and at the moment you of course see no data, because we don't have one. It's a empty table. It's an empty business object. So now it's time to also see a Fiori application which can insert, update, and delete data to this database table for sales order. And to be able to build the Fiori application, we also need to add certain annotations so that this Fiori app can show you the fields to insert, update, delete data. And that's where we create some UI annotations. And let me just go ahead and put UI annotations, and I will just say facet. A facet will create basically a tab for you. Yes. And now we will just put here the type, and we will say identification reference. Basically, I want to create a second screen, and then we will put label annotation to say sales order data. Then we will put here purpose is standard. I'm going to explain all these annotations in coming class. We're going to learn lots of annotations in this training to build a complete full-fledged application. And then in conjunction to this, we will provide identification annotation to create input fields on the detail screen so that user can pass the data for these fields. Yes. The idea is to build a Fiori application which allows a beautiful user interface for user to read, insert, update, delete data one by one in the sales order table. Yeah. So I've activated, and finally I go back, right click, and choose Fiori Elements App Preview. Wow. I click on that, and you will see an application will be live in action right at front of us. Voila. You can see it is generated an application. You can choose some filters, for example, order ID and sales organization for filter. And you can also add here settings to add all the columns. So unfortunately, at the moment, we don't have any records. You can see when I go, it doesn't give me anything. So it is time to create. You see, wow, there you go. You can see a create button is created out of the box. Woo! I don't have to write all this. And there you go. You can see all the fields for creating the new record. So let me create a new sales order. 100001, for example. Customer is SAP. Amount is 10,000 euros, and sales organization is 1001, for example. At the moment, I don't have any validation, and I will just go ahead and click on create. And there you go. You can see a new sales order has been created in my custom database table. And if I just go and search out there, I should see the data. There's something wrong. It's not showing me, but it should ideally show me the data. So we can create perhaps one more. 1002, customer is Talpa, amount is 500 US dollars, 1010 is a sales organization. So there is something going wrong. It's dumping actually. We will explore the reason for dump, but eventually we should see, I think I got the reason for dump. I got the reason for failure. You see, we also have a small problem. The sales order ID is also with underscore, and I did not give the mapping for that. So let me quickly give that. The mapping for the sales order ID equals to SO underscore ID. That's the problem. Yes. And I will just activate this once again, my new definition. So I might have to re-register. So let me unpublish and republish the service. So you can see there is hardly any coding required for you to create ABAP code to insert, update, delete data. And this is where the framework power comes into picture. A framework allows you to be able to generate most of the implementation for which we in the past write the code. So for every single minute thing we used to write the coding, write the ABAP code, whether you want to lock the data, unlock the data, you create lock objects, you go ahead and create new properties. So whatever you saw in the past, we have to write and every single line of code in ABAP. But now we don't have to do that. It is all out of the box. We get it out of the box in the system. So this is one great advantage when it comes to comes to working with the RAP or RESTful Application Programming Training. Yes. So RESTful Application Programming Training or RESTful Application Programming Framework is generating every single bit of code for you out of the box. So as a developer, your time, your value of time is respected, and your overall effort for building a brand new application has been minimized significantly. And you focus on more on the domain rather than coding basic classic ABAP features. So now I will try to create once more. So let's create a new sales order 1002, and let's say company name is IBM, amount is 500 US dollar, 1010. Click on create. Okay, it's dumping because I have some bad data now in our database table. Let me just quickly go ahead and check the database table. I have a bad data for sales order ID with the 0. But you can see now the record is created for IBM. Wow, look at that. Nice. This is how exactly the data gets created. And now I can just go back out and I click on go button. And okay, and I go button, I can see my data. And now I can also create new records in the same way. So this is how we can, in just 30 minutes of time, create a complete end-to-end application, which can do insert, update, delete. You can create more records easily into the system. So this is how exactly we can generate everything out of the box. We can also use all the classic ABAP features like sequence numbers, auto sequencing, validation. We can do some background calculation in ABAP programming. We can calculate, we can do actions, custom actions. There is a lot to learn. There is a lot to learn. And then we have managed scenario, unmanaged scenario. We have entity manipulation language. We have integration with S4 HANA, building a side-by-side extension. We will have BTP. We have also integration with analytics cloud. We have opportunity to expose services, web APIs, API hub. Then we have custom entity concept where partial data come from cloud and partial data come from S4 HANA solution. So a lot of these things, we have Fiori elements, we have analytics built on top of our data sets. So all of this we will be covering in detail in our training. Going forward in this journey of next 30 hours, you will be learning the major concepts of RESTful application programming model. So that brings me to the end of this demo session. Once again, thank you so much for joining this demo session today with us. It was great to see you all back again once to the learning. A little progress each day adds to a big result eventually at the end. So now I will open up the lines for questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask, and let me try to answer all the questions which you have. Any questions on the line, anyone? So there are a lot of questions coming in chat. Let me take up those first.
Hi, Anubhav.
Hi.
My name is Gayatri. I work as a Fiori consultant, and I have almost like 6+ years now. The change in so many architectures and S4 HANA coming in picture. My question is, how good it will be for me to get into this rap, because I don't have any knowledge on ABAP or something.
So let me put your question. I hope
Yeah.
this summarizes your question. Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. Any other questions? Let me answer all of it all together so that we can avoid duplicate questions, perhaps.
Anubhav, Saravana here, Anubhav.
Yes, please.
Yeah, Anubhav, we can use directly in the CDS view, the RAP program, we can use the standard table. Normally we use the Z table, right? We can use the standard table.
Okay, perfect. I put in your question. Next.
Anubhav, I have one more question.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Is it like if I know a little bit of rap? I mean, I don't know how good I would be. So, will learning rap or ABAP make me a full stack? Because I am just the front end person.
Okay, this is the next question: how to become full stack SAP developer. Many of you would
Yes.
like to triple your salary. You want a 60% to 120% salary raise in coming months. So that's the journey to become a full stack SAP developer. We will talk about this. Is my favorite question. All right. So let's start with these questions. Let me complete them and then we will take more questions if you have any. So let's start one by one each of these questions. Let me just change if I can update the fonts here exactly to something bigger so that you can actually see it. All right, better, much better, maybe too much better. So let's reduce a bit to 22. Yeah, perfect. Okay, I don't have knowledge on UI5. Can I still learn this training? How much is that required, the JavaScript or UI5 knowledge? So let me tell you, in this training, we are not going to use UI5. We will not use any JavaScript. We will not use any freestyle Fiori development. We will use Fiori elements, which is based on annotation. So no need of JavaScript or freestyle UI5 dev. No knowledge is required to attend this course on UI5. As long as you're comfortable with ABAP and ABAP on HANA, it is good to go. So would you be covering CDS view entity virtual elements in this training? Yes, I will be covering CDS view entities. And in fact, we will be using view entities only. I will cover the basics of CDS and entity in next class. So just a refresher for CDS. Yeah. Those who don't know CDS, please don't join this training. If you do not know CDS views in detail, please do not join this training. It will go all bouncer for you. Yes, it will go all bouncer for you. Please don't join this course if you don't know CDS. You must know CDS. Those who don't know CDS, first join my ABAP on HANA training, because that training was a 40-hour full-blown training to learn CDS view and HANA basics. Without fundamentals, without basics, it's all waste. Exactly. It's your own risk. If you are joining this course without knowledge of CDS, you are putting yourself on a big risk. This training, I'm not going to cover again, all over again, what we learned in ABAP on HANA. Because in ABAP on HANA training, we've already covered following topics on CDS, like basics of CDS, virtual data modeling in S4 HANA, interface view, consumption view, calculation view, basic interface, composite interface. We've already covered that. We already covered table function. We already covered SQL scripting. We already covered AMDP. We already covered CDS security with the role concept. We've already covered CDS table function. We've already covered CDS scenarios. We've already covered CDS expression language. We've already covered different functions. How can we use CDS? We already covered view on view concept. We already covered extend CDS concept. We've already covered how to design and the best practices for CDS. How should somebody use CDS? We've already covered basic concepts of annotations and UI annotations. All of this is already covered in ABAP on HANA training. Do not join this course if you do not know ABAP on HANA. It's a prerequisite to join the RAP course, because we will not repeat all of it all over again here in this course. I will have a refresher session. Yes, it's okay if you've been some time to work on CDS. You have attended my ABAP on HANA training a year ago. It's okay. It's okay. No problem. It's okay if you've been some time. We will cover a refresher, but do not expect to explain all the concepts of CDS once again, like what happens behind the scene, a HANA view gets created, and then we have code to data paradigm. What is HANA? What is in-memory computing engine? What is the column store, row store? All of it is covered in ABAP on HANA training. I would do cheating with you if I start the CDS basics all over again in this course. You will feel cheated if I teach CDS in next 30 hours. I will not cheat you guys. You are here to learn latest and advanced concepts of RAP. You are not here to learn a repeat of a BAP on HANA course. You are not here to learn basics of CDS. You are here to learn RAP, managed model, unmanaged model, web APIs, API hub, integration, EML. This is what you are all here to learn. ABAP on cloud, this is what you all here to learn. You're all not here to learn basics of CDS in this course. It will be cheating with you if I start CDS basics all over again. Not at all. Join ABAP on HANA training first, then later on come back and attend this training will be more helpful, more effective if you don't know CDS, because all of this is already taught in our ABAP on HANA course. The batches are already going on for ABAP on HANA. Weekend is 7 to 9 p.m. India time. You can join that course. Yeah. This training predominantly targets the Fiori element plus RAP-based development using CDS. I don't have knowledge on UI5. Still, can I learn? Already answered. Repeat question. Repeat question. I don't know ABAP. How can I learn RAP? So if you don't know ABAP, you need to first learn basics of ABAP, which includes data dictionary, reports, function module, modularization technique, classes, core ABAP syntax, and then you need to learn plus ABAP on HANA with new ABAP syntax with the CDS basics, and then come to RAP training. This is my recommendation. It is my recommendation. Some people says I am having good experience, IT experience. I know technology very well. I can digest advanced things directly without learning core. Your choice. If you can, most welcome. Most welcome. As a trainer or as an individual who learned these things from scratch, I'm sharing my experience, how I learn it. I learn it first learning core ABAP, then ABAP on HANA, then RAP. This is my journey. Maybe my journey fits to you, maybe my journey doesn't fit to you. Maybe my journey helps you to understand how should we learn. Maybe you say, no, I have a project need. I will not learn all this. I will directly jump to RAP. I will cope up. Most welcome to this training, no problem. But please note, I am not going to touch upon the core concepts of ABAP and ABAP on HANA in this course. You are on your own. If you get stuck with fundamentals and basic, you are on your own. Because from my side, I made it very clear what is expected already in the bucket, what you should already know. If you don't know, it's likely to happen that you will drop out this course in the middle. Likely, it is very likely you will drop out this course because no one can build a building without a good foundation. Lack of foundation is the reason of our failures or our incompletion of training. Lack of foundation, this is foundation. You can start learning sentences without learning words. You can start learning words without learning alphabets. It's your decision how you want to proceed. For me, fundamentals are very clear that I would like to learn things in a sequential way. I would like to learn things in a way that I can understand and I make somebody else understand. This is the way, this is the journey. Choice is yours. It's your decision, your choices which you want to make, ultimately your choices. I can just tell you my experiences of last 20 years in IT, how I have learned things. So my journey started to become a consultant 20 years ago in college days, where I learned core ABAP, which includes the data dictionary plus reports plus function modules and modularization techniques, and then also all the ABAP related dialog programming, SAP scripts, SAP smart forms, BAPIs, BADIs, BDC technique, LSMW, migration of data, lot of these dialog programs, and then a functional module like SD, or at least one module SDMM, FICO, anything is okay. Then I started working on OOPS ABAP, classes, interfaces, widening cast, narrowing cast, working with interfaces, working with design patterns, singleton, multi-ton, factory, abstract factory, facade, COM, learning with advanced frameworks like ALE, working with the classes, working with the different types of classes in ABAP, abstract classes, static classes, persistence classes, normal ABAP classes, use of interfaces and abstract classes in the design pattern and design modules. Then we have the SAP framework for building ALVs and trees. It's called New GUI framework. And then I learned WebDyn Pro ABAP. Of course, some of these things are out of context completely. Nowadays, nobody's using WebDyn Pro. But then I learned WebDyn Pro. Then I learned Floor Plan Manager, FPM. Then I learned BRF Plus, which is a framework in SAP. Then I learned SAP Workflow Together. Then after that, I learned SAP BOPF basics. Then I learned how to design a SAP solution designer. I have gone through architecture curriculum training completely. How should we architecture a solution? How should we design a solution from scratch? Database tables, what would be the best reusable maintenance-free design for future? And then I started learning ABAP on HANA. Then I learned SAP UI5 and Fiori. Then I learned SAP Analytics Cloud. And then further, I learned, of course, RESTful application programming model. I learned BTP, SAP Business Technology Platform. I learned Node.js, I learned JavaScript, I learned Java with the framework like Spring Boot. I've learned Olingo framework. I've learned lots of different frameworks based on Node.js, like Bootstrap framework. I learned HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Then I've learned the concept of working with the advanced frameworks in Java, working with the databases. I've learned HANA native development with HANA XSA and containers, HDI containers, calculation views, Web IDE. Then I've learned Business Application Studio, SAP Fiori tooling, SAP Node.js based application, Node.js framework like Loopback, Node Data Framework. And the learning goes on and on and on. It's continuing. And nowadays I'm learning MDK, SAP Mobile Development Kit. I'm learning IRPA. I'm learning bot building using SAP. I'm learning concept of AI with SAP. Lot of these new stuff is coming, which I'm also learning. It's a learning journey. This has been my journey for last 20 years. That requires to 10x your salary where you are right now today. 10x is here. You can 10 times your earning. 10 times. All these topics are by heart. All these topics, any topic you ask, by heart. They are by heart. And the learning will continue, and I will be promising you that I will be getting you the latest cutting edge knowledge in a simple English, in a plain English to all of you, in a way that any layman person can understand. But you need to focus in a systematic learning path, not like others where people start doing copy paste, or they just learn something to get the job requirement fulfilled. Then you will not get satisfaction in your job. Why people are dissatisfied with their job every day? Why you don't feel like waking up and going to office in the Monday morning? Because you don't have enthusiasm towards the technology. You don't feel like working is because of lack of foundation. You feel everything like tensed because lack of foundation. Foundation is weak. Initial days of your career, you didn't get good mentors. You perhaps didn't get a good environment to learn. So this is the reason you don't feel like going to office on Monday morning. You don't feel like working. You just get something new and you don't feel like learning that something new. You feel like, oh my God, what pressure my manager is putting on me. Just a core ABAPer. I don't like to learn Node.js. I don't like to learn JavaScript. I don't want it. And that is because lack of foundation in IT, lack of mentorship at the initial days of your career. Perhaps that could be the reason. And that's why it is a cycle. Because of that, your salary is not increasing and you're not getting motivation to learn. That is how it should be. Yeah. All right. So we will be doing Business Application Studio in this course, of course, for our Fiori Elements development. And I will also teach you a VS Code development environment for local development. Can we use standard table and CDS in RAP? Yes, we can, and we will see an example. We will do that. In fact, will ABAP Kit be covered in this course? Yes, ABAP Kit is also part of it as part of this training. No idea on CDS views much how this will affect. I already answered this question. How will it affect you? It's your conscious decision and choice if you want to take the risk of joining this course without knowing CDS views. It's your conscious decision and risk. You are on a very high risk if you don't know this. Very, very high risk. You should know first ABAP on HANA. How would you be covering CDS view and entities and virtual? This I already answered. We will be covering it. How to become full stack developer? How to become full stack developer? How to become it? 3 trainings of mine: UI5 and Fiori, ABAP on HANA, and then you should take Fiori Advance and RAP. Complete these 4 trainings in next 6 to 8 months. You become a full stack SAP developer. A full stack SAP developer salary is 3 times the experience minimum. 3 times the experience minimum. That is the salary of a full stack SAP developer. If you have 3 years of experience in India, you can easily make 9 lakh minimum. Minimum, I'm telling, it can go up to 12, 15 also. That's a minimum salary you can expect for a full stack SAP developer. Very high in demand. Companies like Labs, SAP Labs, they only hire nowadays full stack SAP developers. Exactly. That is how the journey is. Journey is more important than the destination. Yes. What is the course timing? The course timing is morning 7 to 9 a.m. India time, 2 hours each weekday. Yes. 2 hours weekend, sorry. 7 to 9 a.m. IST on weekends. It's going to be minimum 30 hour, and we will go between 30 to 35 to up to 40 hour of this course. We will go as and when we progress. We have Fiori developer using BAS. Will that be redundant going forward with RAP? Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. RAP will still be used, and we will be using we will be using BAS in this training. Exactly. We will be using BAS for Fiori development in this course. We will be. What I showed you today was just a preview, was not a development. It was just a preview. You see, it's a preview. This is not a productive application. The productive application you still have to build it via BAS tool and deploy it to BTP. We will learn basics of BTP also. Yes, basics of BTP will be covered. So what we cover in the next class? In the next class, I will cover how to set up Eclipse, ADT development environment. We will cover about basics of BTP, how to set up free SAP server to practice this course. And we will cover basics of data dictionary and CDS views and CDS entities. Of course, it is just a refresher of ABAP on HANA training, which you have already taken from me or from somewhere else. This is our topic for the next class, which we will be covering. And then right after that, we will start the RAP development. We'll talk about RAP in general, EML, and then scenarios. All of this we will be covering. If you are an ABAP developer, this is a must-have path for you. Must-have path. Many people say, Anubhav, I'm a ABAP developer, not finding good opportunity in the market. Why? Because you are not putting your effort in the right direction. Industry is going in direction X, and you are going in direction Y. Okay. The industry is doing in direction X and you are going in direction Y. So if you go in 2 different directions, how will the results will come? Yes. I wanted to cross English Channel by swimming. English Channel is flowing in a direction X and I was swimming in direction Y. How easily I will cross it will be difficult, hard time. Yes. I need to be exactly in the right direction in the flow of water. That's when the right results will come. The results will not come just by doing something. Just by doing something. Somebody told in my team, somebody told in my company, do this. I started doing that. I left it in the middle. Somebody else came and said, do this. I started doing that. At the end, I made a khichdi. I made a mash of everything. It is a messed up situation. It's a messed up situation. Results will come when you go and put them in the right direction in a systematic manner. That's when the results will come. And they will not come in one day. It's a perpetual effort. It's a perpetual effort. That's when the results will come. Yeah. All right. Time for questions on the line. Yes, please.
Anubhav, one question I had. So to work on the S/4HANA private cloud, so other than RAP, what should I be aware of?
S/4HANA private cloud, there is nothing called S/4HANA private cloud. There is something called S/4HANA on-premise, and there is something called S/4HANA cloud.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to work on the cloud, other than RAP, what should I be aware of?
You should be aware of BTP training. You should take my BTP training. Yes.
Okay. So this should I take after I complete the RAP, right?
Yes. Are you already aware of ABAP on HANA?
Yes, I took ABAP on.
Then go with RAP, and after that BTP. Perfect combination.
Yeah.
Anubhav, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, Swami. Go ahead.
Okay. We are on ABAP on S/4HANA on-premise version. We are almost converting that. Learning this RAP course will be useful for that.
Yes, very good.
I took your I
Very
took
good.
UFI ABAP on HANA with you itself. So I
Okay.
just wanted to know whether RAP will be useful.
So you see, as I told you, that this training is not just for those who want to venture into the cloud, but they are for those also who are venturing in S/4HANA. So if your company is above or and on 1909 S/4HANA on-premise, or you are on
Yes.
S/4HANA cloud, which somebody was saying private cloud of S/4HANA, this is 1908 version. Of course, you will be much above than we are in 22 right now. So majority of you are already above these versions. You will have a special component called ABA layer in your SAP system. Let me show you. I go to my SAP system. I will log into my on-premise system. So I'm logging to my on-premise system now, guys, because some of you have questions related to on-premise. So let me go to my on-premise system. I'll connect to my on-premise system. I will just show you where can you find the required components for this purpose. Yeah. So let's go back. Let's go. On-premise S/4HANA. There you go. It is on-premise S/4HANA. I will go to system, status, details, and you can see something called SAP ABA layer. ABA layer, cross application component. This is a layer which is what we call the layer to support RAP. If you find this in your S/4HANA system in your company, you are eligible for this RAP training, and you will be able to utilize this RAP training to help your company to also build solutions, end-to-end applications in on-premise.
Okay.
With RAP.
Yeah, we are on 21 version.
Perfect.
Latest version.
Perfect. Yeah. So mine is also latest 2109. This is on-premise. We will see once I complete the training, I will show you the same thing replicating in the on-premise system also. Whatever you do in BTP ABAP on cloud version, you will also be able to replicate it. I'll show that same things will work in on-premise also. Same things. This is the ABA layer.
And do we need the BTP for this? Because we are on.
No, you don't need. So if you, when it comes to server access, we'll discuss about server access in detail in next class. How do you get server access? Yeah. So of course, for learning purpose, we will use BTP. We will do all our learnings in BTP. But if you don't want to, no problem. You can parallelly do exact same things in your on-premise system also.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Yes. You don't need it. But I would recommend to learn it, because learning is more important.
Already learned from you only. The BTP also, I took that course.
Okay, perfect. No, but here it's different flavor. It's not the repeat of BTP training. It's a ABAP on cloud on BTP. It's a little different.
Okay, got it. And when do you start this course?
Already started today. Today was our first session. Tomorrow is the second class.
So tomorrow is the second
We
class.
are on it. Yes. Committed.
Okay, then I'll join. Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect. How can we use on-premise system? You don't need to. To practice this training, I will save your cost. If you want on-premise system, it's a cost. You all know the process, server@innovatrainings.com to drop a mail and get the access if you want to practice it on-premise. But why to pay? Where you can practice RAP for free. And that's exactly tomorrow's class content. That's exactly tomorrow's session. How to set up your BTP and ABAP on cloud instance. Free. That's what our tomorrow's topic is. You can practice this training absolutely free. Absolutely free. If you have your company system, you can practice this training there as well. But on Eclipse might be vary from on-premise, right? No, it will not vary. See, I'm using Eclipse and I'm connected to the cloud system, BTP system, and I'm connected to my on-premise system also. You see, both I'm connected today from Eclipse. It is the same Eclipse. If you've taken my ABAP on HANA training, you used in Eclipse there, same Eclipse. We'll see that tomorrow. We'll see that. Tomorrow we'll set up our system. So you will understand that end to end. Wow. All right, that comes to the end of today's class. Thank you so much once again for joining this session. Catch you up tomorrow at the same time. Have a nice day. Goodbye.